Hey, happy Sunday everyone. So welcome to another videos, and this video we're gonna do a little bit different because we're gonna do it in English because just a bit of room to breathe and less work to do, and also changing the atmosphere for a bit. And so today gonna do a little bit of question and answering. So we have a bit of like a few days ago you posted on like one of the posts I mentioned, and if you have any questions that you want me to answer or want some thought on, like just put it below in this video, the comment below in this videos, so that next week I'll look into this and we'll have another one. And just a caution though, like I'm answering this, any other question that is putting there just based on the scenario. If that's gonna happen to me, what would I choose, right? It is not what I think you should choose, because I think everyone is totally different based on the background you're from, based on the condition that you're having. So it's totally different. But I'm only answering your viewpoint. If you find it very useful, feel free to take it. What are your core values in life and how did you discover them? Say my core value in life that I think stick with me most throughout the past 20 something years. I would say one is honesty, second is happiness, and third one is optimism. So it's like 2H and 1O is like water kind of thing. But yeah, so this is something that I discovered because like throughout the past few years, I think traveling, going to different conferences on leadership, and also having some stuff on self-discovery, it changed like throughout the time. But the further I go, is the deeper I get into my own personal values. And these are the three that I think stick with me for so long. How do you find your passions? This is a tricky one because throughout the years I found out a lot of things that I love doing, and it's been cool. But that is not something that I settle. There's a lot of things that I'm trying to explore. Like this few months also, I've been testing out a lot of things as well. Even making this video is also a new thing that I'm trying out better to see if it's a passion that I love. So to me, when it's come to finding the passion, the idea is to make ourselves exposed to many different things, right? Like you wouldn't know that you love dancing if you never dance, just like that, right? The thing is like to allow yourself to explore and experience small doses of things, and just to see if that is something you want to do, right? So when it's come to reading, I do the same thing. I read a lot of different categories. Like I would read on philosophy, I would read on basic personal growth stuff, I would read on science related stuff like AI, robotics, and all this kind of stuff, and so many other stuff. So it's just like to give myself a little bit of trial into that, and then put it into practice for a shorter amount of time. And then I would ask myself if I'm gonna do that for the next, for example, like commit myself in the next 3 or 4 or 5 years, would I still want to do that and enjoy doing that? So yeah, if that's a yes, I think but the thing at the point is like it needs a lot of exploration. You need to try a lot of different things, and that is what I usually do. And another question is how to be emotionally stable. What I usually do, I think it's been like 2.5 years that I practice this philosophy. It's called Stoicism. I will make more video in the future on that. It's something that made me so calm as an individual in a way, and the way doing that is through meditations. But this is not like a form of typical meditation that we usually see where we close our eye and meditate. This kind of meditation is a bit like intense in a way. It's a lot of visualization and also simulations. So it's by this concept from the philosophy. It's called premeditatio malorum. So it's in the modern language, it's translated to the meditation of evil. So what I would do is that starting the day, I would imagine what would be the worst day today possibly be. Let's say I would meet very angry people, I would meet very bad people, I would be very unlucky and stuff like that. And same thing, like not just today, but also future ahead, right? So the idea is like to get myself mentally prepared for the worst case scenario that can happen. And when I'm ready to actually take on that, that's mean even the worst thing happen, I'm totally pumped and ready. It's like it creates this kind of mental and emotional resiliency. So totally ready for that. And a lot of time, most of the time, it's not gonna be that bad. And when it's not that bad, for example, like if my manager is very nice, but let's say what I would also do is that I wouldn't expect my manager to be nice to me all the time. I would go think for the worst case scenario. Maybe my manager is very mean or whatever, but again, she's very nice. But the thing is, like, when I put myself into that worst case scenario, even like I go to a meeting and in that meeting she doesn't happen to smile, that's already a big bonus for me, that I'm like, oh, at least I don't get pointed out for something or stuff like that, right? So it's like I feel good because I set my expectations super low. So yeah, even it's a normal situation, it's kind of like great. So yeah, and another one for emotional stability, journaling is a method and a way that helped me a lot in declutter my mind. And apart from that, it's also to be very grateful in what I'm doing. Yeah, like I would journal in the morning and just write things that I'm grateful for, and yeah, set a big tones of the day, and yeah, that's pretty good. Another question is like how to create a social life balance with work-life balance, and I would point it out into two things. One is time, another one is quality over quantity. So just like anything in our life, I think if you want to really commit to that, the thing you need to do is to allocate time, and to really put time, allowing time for that to happen. And the easiest that you can do to keep yourself accountable is to schedule it. Schedule it in a sense that, how can I say? It's like, the thing is like, okay, if you're someone who loves working so much, then there's no limitation of how much you work like throughout the day. It's like you would go until dinner and finish dinner and still working and stuff like that, right? So thing you need to do is to really schedule time to when you need to stop working, and scheduling time when you're ready to connect with people or do some stuff, and do it in advance, like talking to people and stuff like that. That's what I would usually do. I don't have like fixed calendar of what is the time that I talk to people, but at least I keep my calendar free in the evening, and I would just casually spend probably like 30 minutes to 1 hour just hanging around with people, and that's what I would usually do. And yeah, and I would try to meet some of my friends at least like once a week, like different people, just to maintain that relationship. And another point is about quality over quantity, and that is a bit kind of like based on this research, and also this kind of rule is called the Dunbar's rule. So in this Dunbar's rule, it was something like in human social connection, we can only have maximum 150 deep meaningful connection with people. So it kind of brought into questioning, like, I mean, if we look at our Facebook friends on Facebook, we have at least, I don't know, it's like 500 or 1,000, 2,000, or maybe even 5,000 friends on Facebook, right? But the thing is, like, not all of those connections are the connection that have to be very deep. So the thing I would ask myself is that if I'm throwing the biggest party, or maybe it's my wedding, like if I'm throwing the biggest party, or I'm throwing something that is very huge for me, it's like, and I can only invite 150 people that I know only. Who are those 150 people? It doesn't have to be 150, that is the maximum, and you don't have to feel pressure. I probably might have less, like a lot less. But yeah, when you start asking that, and you start to see what are the type of connection with people that is really matter to you, what are the type of connection that really become very, how I know, it's like bring you joys into your life, And then when you find those people, then really need to put time and invest time into connecting with those people. So that's what I would do. Another question is going to a good university matter when you don't know what you want to do? I would say it might not matter as much. Yeah, I would say that because in some degree it might matter in a sense that you at least get to expose to a few other different things, or maybe some outside school opportunity that school will have for you. Let's say speaking club or some other stuff that might interest you or might be shaped into a passion. I don't know, but in a certain degree, it would be, to me, what I would do is to go to a university that doesn't really require a lot of commitment from me, meaning I don't have to study for long hours. So I would have time to do a lot of stuff outside school, doing many different things, and so on and so forth, just to explore what is that things that I want to do. It can be doing an internship on a certain company that I want to explore on certain skill, spending a lot of time reading, volunteering, some of the stuff. That's what I would personally do, to go for a university that doesn't really require a lot of commitment, so that I have time to really explore myself. Another option can be as well is to take a gap year, maybe a year, just to give you some time. And in that gap year, maybe I will allow myself 1 month, each month, to try one thing. Maybe for the first month I would just maybe go dancing or singing and stuff like that. Or maybe the second month I would explore maybe painting. Maybe the other month I would explore writing or journaling or whatever. So it's just like giving you time to really explore your passion. So for me, I would go for either going to a university that doesn't require a lot of commitment for me, and just spending the rest of my waking hour doing so many different things and testing out. Or another one is same thing, but it's just by taking a gap year, you have more time to do so many other things. The question is that would I recommend moving out of the family after college? I would say yeah. To me, I think that is a very huge learning point in growing up. But just a caution on that, because a lot of time when we think about moving out and live outside of home, whether home in the same town your parents are living in or maybe abroad or whatever, we usually think like, oh, I have so many freedom. So it tied up into a lot of like fun kind of lifestyle, like, oh, I can do whatever I want, I don't have any more curfew, etc. But we totally forget that with that amount of freedom, it's also come with responsibility, and I think that is really important. From experience, I used to have like 1 year, like right after college, I moved to Thailand and worked for a year there, and it was really good. I have a lot of fun. I eat a lot of unhealthy food. I was 10 kilograms heavier back then, and my health wasn't really good. And that is what happened when I didn't take my freedom responsibly, not taking care of my health. And since last year, I take a different approach, and I've learned a lot of things actually. I mean, it's not just about going out there, having freedom, do whatever I want. I mean, yeah, but like you need to really start looking into certain skill that is really helping your life to get organized, because let's admit it, like there will be points in our life that we will be, I don't know, it's like we get married, or maybe like our parents won't be with us anymore. There won't be anyone to actually advise us on how to do things, and a lot of those time we need to really figure out how to do this stuff. Let's say if the sink is not working, how to fix that. If I got sick, what kind of medicine I would take, what kind of medical procedure would I be considering, how to cook and stuff like that. Those are good life skills, right? Like how to plan my own financial plan for the future, how to save and stuff like that. And to me, if I stay at home, I don't think I've learned that. Maybe it's a different situation that you have. Maybe you're living in a family where like your parents actually putting a lot of effort. But for me, I was pretty much spoiled that like I didn't get to do a lot of stuff by myself if I'm at home. But by moving out, it gave me so much room to do all of those, and learn all this grown-up thing. All right, let's go to another question. So this question is like how to get things organized. So I would separate this question into two. One is getting physically organized, another one is mentally organized. So for physical, how can I say, physical living environment, to make it organized, what helped me a lot is being more minimalistic into the way I live, in the way I own things, and the way I buy things. And that just make my house more empty in a way. It kind of like, when I walked in, it doesn't really cause additional stress. And yeah, if that's what you look into in being organized, that is something I would personally recommend. Before I would buy things, I would think like, how is this item gonna look like, or will I need it in 6 months, 1 year, etc., etc., right? So thinking long term before I buy something, and that really helped me a lot. So I don't really clutter my environment, much or less like cluttered and messy environment also affect like our mental state as well. So yeah, so if I have less stuff, then it takes less time for me to keep things organized and take care of, and less effort. When things seem so small to do, it's easier to do it in a way. And when it comes to mental, getting mentally clear and organized, what I would usually do is journaling. And one of the practice that I do is bullet journaling. So I would putting down all my thought, all my to-do list, just putting it there, and then just work on that. And that's just part of things that I would do in the morning as my journaling practice. And as Ryder Carroll would say, he was the founder of this bullet journaling practice, which you can find on YouTube also on how to do that. Is that he was saying that to declutter the mind, you need to externalize your thought, and that is something I totally agree. Because sometimes our mind is very cluttered with many different thoughts, and you just need to put it down on paper. And when you do that, it's not only that you can get mentally clear, or you have that mental clarity in your head of what you need to do, but also it also keep your list or to-do list or whatever is like very organized on what are the things you need to prioritize next. Yeah, and the technique is very simple on to do. And again, you can find YouTube, and it's very easy thing to do. And probably maybe I make a video on that future. All right, let's go to another question. Is like how to study smart. And what I would do on this is, one is tackling on the knowledge category. So when it comes to knowledge, what I would do is studying from the best people. That's what I would do. Let's say it can be from books. For example, like 2.5 years ago, I started my journey learning about Stoicism philosophy. And I was thinking like, who are the best people to learn from that? So I think of Ryan Holiday. He's talking a lot about that in a philosophical perspective, like ancient time and stuff like that. And another person is Massimo. He's talking about in a more like literature and academic kind of view, from the kind of vibe that I get from him. And another one is Donald Robertson. Donald Robertson, he talking in a more like psychologist in terms of like cognitive behavioral therapy kind of way on using the philosophy. And also Tim Ferriss, when it comes to entrepreneurship, using this philosophy to make yourself very resilient and tough through difficult time. So I study a lot from this like 4 people, and yeah, they somewhat, to me at least, like some of the best people that I found. So I would read their books. Some of them was like all their books. Listening to some of their podcasts, and even like do some of their programs, right? And a lot of time when we are learning something, we are setting up with a mediocre trainer, which is okay. Sometimes I think like to have a point to start with, but also you need to set another kind of like learning curve by learning what is the best people in this category, in this subject. Like where do you find these people and learn from them, and yeah, and a lot of those things are free, like podcasts, for example. So yeah, that's what I would do. And on the knowledge side is that not stopping there by just knowing it, but it's also integrating into experiences. So what I would do is to putting into practice, right? Like I would, for the same example, when it comes to Stoicism, I put into practice for a short trial on certain different thing and really learn. And when you do that, you're able to really, in a way, internalize that with your body. Like in a sense, it's like this: like you cannot learn how to swim by reading the book, right? Like who read books on swimming and just jump into the pool? So what you would do is that you need to learn from real time, and that is really important. So when you're doing that, it kind of like you expand the level of your knowledge into maybe even mastery in a sense. And that is like that 2 point when it comes to knowledge. And another area when it comes to learning smart is transfer that into becoming wisdom. In a way, that's the way to help them is to dig inside yourself. So what I would do is journaling. I think journaling helped me a lot. One is to remember what I've learned, but it's all the knowledge thing. But it's just like to really reflect, like, okay, like what do I learn from this? And how does this actually impact my life? What are the things that I'm gonna do with this in the futures? And so on and so forth. So it kind of like really internalize. You don't want just to really learn the theory and just practicing it a lot, but also to really connect with your soul, like yourself, whether this is really something for you, and to really reinvent the technique in a way that fit yourself most, right? All right, last question is like, what's my thought on environmental issues? So on this, there's a lot of expert and very knowledgeable people when it comes to environmental issue in Cambodia. They're doing their own thing and they're sharing a lot of good stuff and good solution as well. And I would recommend to check them out. I don't think I have the knowledge that it can surpass them in a way, at least for now. But what I would talk about, it would mainly be on behavioral perspective, on the way we're seeing things. Things that I've seen quite interesting. A few days ago, I checked my Instagram and found a guy's, and it's like in his podcast. And he was saying this thing is very interesting. He was saying that it was related to racism, because like in the US, like Black Lives Matter movement is very, very big as of now. And then he was saying that it's not enough to not be a racist, but if we want to end racism, we need to be anti-racist, meaning that not finding any of those actions okay, like, right? And really point it out. And I would like really put that into the environmental thing as well. Like, at least for me, I think like going through university and see a lot of my friends, like we become like in our generation, like we are a lot more kind of green comparison to like much more older generation and so on and so forth. But like, but still way to go. Like it is not enough to just be green ourselves, but we need to start pointing it out when somebody is not doing that. And it's go to many different things, like for example, right? Let's say for a teacher. So let's say if I'm a teacher and I'm teaching about environmental stuff, would I be okay the next day when I teach, maybe talk about a different topic, and my student, they're bringing in like they're bringing in a lot of plastic? Would I find that okay? Like, it shouldn't be, right? We need to point it out that it's not okay. So it's more like not just educating people alone, but to encourage action and also pointing out and not be okay when that is not happening. And another point I would say is when it comes to behavioral thing, is to really encourage people to do that, like not making them feeling ashamed when doing that. I had an experience that's very, very weird for me. So I went to Angkor Wat, and what I did there is, I went with some of my family and relative and stuff like that. So I was walking and I see some trash, like some bottle people throwing around. And I thought like, yeah, maybe I can help that. So I just pick it up, the trash, and I just wait. I just walk until I see the bin and I throw it in. And one of my relatives, she saw that, and she said like, why I'm doing that? Why I'm carrying other people's trash? It's not good. And the thing is like, it kind of blew my mind. It's just like, yeah, I'm trying to help, but why should I be shameful in my actions, like trying to, in a way, contribute to the environment, right? So I don't know if it's a thing. Maybe it's just like one case that has happened to me. But we need to start like, how can I say, not not find it very shameful to really do this stuff for society, or find it weird, or making other people feel weird or shameful when they're doing that. And I think that would be good. All right, that's all the question for today. Very long video. But yeah, if you have more questions, put it here and we'll talk about it next week. All right, have a happy Sunday, the rest of the Sunday and the rest of next week. See you next time.